Hello, folks. This is Brandon Chapman with TheoTrade. Just a quick video for a Monday, November 24th. It is a holiday shortened week. Markets close on Thursday, a shortened day on Friday, and overall, trade probably just dissipating as we roll into the Thursday Thanksgiving holiday. And I wish you a happy Thanksgiving as well. Well, folks, as we look at the S&P 500, we're basically back to the 50-day moving average. And where do we go next? Are we about to see a major rally in the market heading into the end of the year? Are we looking for maybe a two-way mark? We're up and down, back and forth, headed to the end of the year, or are we setting up for the next sell-off? You know, it's kind of hard to make that decision sometimes. We can't read the future, but as we look at the performance today, look, technology is leading the way. Well, what's one of the biggest technology stocks out there? It's NVIDIA. NVIDIA is up basically a paltry 1.4%. So what's driving technology? Is it Apple, for example? Apple's up 1.96%. So we're seeing that NVIDIA is not leading this trade at the moment. What about AVGO? Broadcom, for example, stocks up 11% today. An extraordinary move as we're about to break out to highs. Are we about to see a new order being established in the AI trade? On Friday, there were some significant prints that came up in the Ghost Print surveillance console. One was on Tesla. Tesla's up 7% today. Bullish calls being bought at the 440 strike rather. Again, we're moving towards that price right now. KWEB, this is the Chinese internet ETF, up 2.85%, beating NVIDIA today. A lot of these companies have ties to the AI industry. And of course, we've got Bitcoin, /BTC. Bitcoin up strongly today, up 5.37%. And on Friday, we saw a significant option trade in IBIT, which is about 5.5%. And part of our Ghost Prints service, I sent out an alert to buy IBIT, and we're looking for IBIT right now to get to about the 53 strike price. And if we get up in this area, we'll have a chance to close that out at a 70% gain. We're already long gold. Well, why? What's so special about gold right now? Well, it does kind of put in perspective the market's rally today. The S&P is up 1.4%. The only sector outperforming the S&P 500 is technology, largely led by Broadcom. And so we think about the breadth of this rally into the breadth of the performance, it's not exactly found in broadly SPY components in terms of outperformance. Gold is outperforming it all. Well, what does that mean? Essentially, the dollar's weakness is the market's greatest strength right now. And when that occurs, frequently gold outperforms the S&P 500. And if we go back the last 14 years, gold has bottomed in November to early December and has rallied through December into January, sometimes into February. Are we about to see another scenario where gold outperforms the S&P 500, basically telling us the breadth of the market's pretty weak, the market's not gaining real value, only going up in price because the dollar is declining? The question is, does today's movement or today's trade indicate maybe a end-of-year rally in gold? Well, let's take a look at the console. This is something we can kind of look to as an opportunity to help make that decision. So basically, I take the console, which is basically pre-screening stuff. We have 1,500 contracts, but I want to look at the biggest trades of the day. So I click on block trades, and we'll sort by the volume alert. Notice the top of the list here today. Somebody's trading a gold call spread of 395 for December 19th. This was bought near or at the ask, 58,000 contracts. Well, who trades 58,000 contracts? It ain't me and it ain't you. These are large institutional footprints. And boy, if you hear about Michael Burry buying puts and NVIDIA and Palantir, you have this revelation that, oh man, Tom Lee's talking about how if you're long Bitcoin, the only way to hedge, if you have over $1 billion or more, is to buy, MSTR puts. They're using options every day to reflect their positions that they're holding in the market or their sentiment. This is happening every day, and the console picks that up easily. We've narrowed down a field of 1,600 of the 32 biggest trades today. And what's the biggest of the biggest? It's gold, GLD, buying the 395 calls. If I type in GLD up here, notice what happens. Now I bring in the other side of it, the bid. Now I'm looking at the full spread, which is tagged right here. They're buying the 395 and selling the 410s. This is a long call vertical spread. We have a symbol, we have a direction up, we have a target price 410 by what? December 19th. Are we about to see that sort of movement in gold? Well, if getting back to prior highs carries us back to 403 here. 410, it's just a bit higher. We don't say needed to get to 410, but the idea is this is setting up for another bullish leg higher in gold, and certainly is indicative or reflective of the outperformance that gold experiences going into the end of the year. So I highlighted trades on Friday indicating maybe a new AI trade. Well, here's gold basically being set up on a very old trade that gold's been outperforming the market and generally performing well in December and January. Let's take a look again. We'll go back to block trades here. And we come down here, we'll notice BTG. If I click on this, it'll show you an intraday chart. BTG, this is B to gold. This is a gold stock. It's been grinding higher throughout the course of the trading day. Well, let's look at Thinkorswim, and we'll look at the charts here as well. And the options, you look at BTG, where are we about to head here? If gold retests its prior high, is BTG about to test $6? If the market remains strong, you'd probably expect that stocks like BTG would outperform not just gold, but also outperform the S&P 500. This might be a possibility going into the end of December and into January, seeing BTG retest prior highs. And boy, if the Fed gets dovish and the gold trade heats up, you might see a gold stock like B2 Gold really surge heading into the end of year and the beginning of next year. What else we got here in terms of the precious metals trade? Does it extend beyond? Well, if we look at it, another one in here down at the bottom, we got AG calls. Now, again, 3,000 calls being bought at or near the ask here for the December 5th 1350s. Also, notice the squeeze bar. This shows that there's a reasonable amount of short interest in AG that could drive it in the near future. So if we look at AG, what's the potential? Again, we notice the 1350s being bought here. What if we can push to and through 1350? We could readily retest prior highs in First Majestic Silver. Well, what about silver today? Any trade in silver? In fact, I'll just type in SLV. If we can look at all the trades in silver, if we just type in SLV, and we'll kind of narrow the parameters. Now, look, there's 24 different option trades in silver today. Well, how can I narrow the list? Just quickly click the scan right here, or the filter. Now we're looking at everything being bought. What if we look at stuff that has, volume is at least 20% higher than short interest? This really gets us to the cream of the crop here, and we'll just sort by the biggest volume of the day. It's a bit of a mixed trade in silver generally, right? Calls being bought, puts being bought. Generally speaking, more calls being bought, more strikes being bought of calls than puts. So again, maybe a slightly bullish bias today in silver, but we're talking about equities, AG, we're talking B to gold, and we're talking GLD. That's where we're seeing the strength. And again, the trade on Friday in IBIT just shows that Bitcoin may be a bit oversold right now, and we may be in store for just a rally off of the lows. And for IBIT, we're just looking for IBIT to get towards 53 here, and we are out at a 70% gain based on Friday's activity in IBIT, in Tesla, and in I forget the third one here. And KWeb. KWeb's made a nice move today as well. So the idea is that these prints oftentimes lead movement, and we have a source. We have an ability to be able to identify those large trades, option trades, that are really leading price, the tail literally wagging the dog in this sense. So what's the S&P about to do as we're testing the 50? I don't frankly care. What we're looking at is areas that are going to have a chance to outperform the market generally. And look, there is one trade that is setting up on the downside today that I find very interesting. So if we're talking about a two-way market, this might be exactly what we're looking for here. So XBI. XBI today, someone bought 25,000 put contracts near the ask in XBI. And if I just focus on just at the ask here, you'll see two calls and puts, but really all the activity scaling up to 50,000 contracts. This is the 100 strike for March 20th. This is a big trade. And does it mean that XBI is about to fall apart here at highs? Nah, it doesn't have to though, right? Stock's up 2.5% today. It's outperforming the S&P 500. We could maybe even wait a day on this or two. The higher this gets, the more vulnerable it is to see a short-term pullback. What does a short-term pullback look like today? Well, if I go to the trade tab in here, we just look at December, we're going to go Jan out 53 days. Let's just look at a modest pullback here. We'll look at the 40 delta. What if you bought a 117, buy deep and wide, 112 strike vertical, buy a 117 and sell a 115? And how much is that going to cost you? Cost you $1.23. That's a little high, isn't it? That doesn't look right. We might have a little bit of we got a bid-ask spread issue here, right? That's really causing the issue. This is pricing a little bit better earlier today. But 435, 525. The open interest is just kind of thin right here, and it picks up a little bit lower. We could look at maybe closer to 25 days. All we need is just a smallish pullback. And again, the spreads are a little wider right now in this too. But the point is, all you need is a small pullback in XBI and biotech. You might pick an individual stock, but here we're talking a little bit wider spreads. As we get down here, it starts to tighten up a little bit. Anyway, we've kind of outrun the coverage with the increase today. But even going to 30 delta down here, 115, 113, just go $2 wide. Cost you 49 cents. You risk 49 cents. All we need is a pullback towards 113, not even to 113, towards 113. We have a chance to pull back right here. Again, that doesn't mean XBI is falling apart. It's just a small pullback. You have a chance to get out of this at a 70% gain pretty readily. So folks, that's the way things are setting up right now. We're seeing the leadership, we're seeing the prints Friday and today, more bullishly and bearishly. Looking at the market as we're testing the 50 as a means of playing both the bullish end and the bearish end of the market at a pivotal point for the S&P 500. And it will catch you back next week. Have a great one. Thank you.